Chosen one. Seeing this now means you're on the edge of revelation. Something unseen has aligned to bring you here. What if I told you that the interruptions you blame on life are often spiritual surveillance cloaked as coincidence? In the moments when your focus fractured for no clear reason, when a sudden wave of fatigue washed over you in the middle of your breakthrough, it wasn't just stress or burnout. It was them studying your every move. You have sensed their presence, a subtle heaviness in the air, the feeling of being watched even in an empty room, the nagging whisper that your intuition is no longer completely your own. Today, you will learn who these monitoring spirits are, why they target you, how to spot their interference, and, most importantly, how to seal your space so that their gaze can no longer find you. If this message already speaks to your soul, subscribe, like this video, and comment 77 below. Stay with me, because by the end you'll no longer be prey, but the hunter in disguise. Who is watching you spiritually? A faint shimmer of light danced at the edge of your vision as you drifted between sleep and waking, painting impressions of eyes watching you from beyond the veil. In that liminal space, a whisper echoed. Do you feel the gaze that lingers? The question hovered like a forgotten melody resurfacing, stirring the knowing that you were never alone. That moment, caught between dreams and reality, opened a doorway in your awareness. It invited you to recognize that the weight of unseen scrutiny you've carried all your life was not imagined. You have sensed glances brushing past your consciousness, and now, in that tender pause, you glimpsed the silent audience assembled for your every step. Remember the nights you lay awake, heart pounding with inexplicable dread, as if someone stood watching from the corner of your room. You wonder if the shadows behind your eyelids could harbor intent, or recall how your ideas, born with such fierce clarity, were met by a sudden hush. Colleagues veering away, voices dropping when you spoke. That strange aloneness in a crowded place, the inexplicable shame that washed over you when you shone, left you feeling isolated and misunderstood. You carried the confusion of thinking it was your fault. Too loud, too different, too sensitive. Never realizing that these reactions were signs of deeper currents pulling at the edges of your spirit. What if those echoes of rejection and sudden silences were never random, but orchestrated parts of a larger design? Picture a tapestry woven by an unseen hand. Each thread of discomfort and isolation laid deliberately to guide you toward clarity. The prophet Job teaches us of the sons of God witness his trials, reporting back on his faith, Job 1 verse 6. In the same way, spiritual entities watch your faith in action, assessing every moment you choose courage over compromise. When you reframe your story through the sacred lens, you see that every misunderstanding, every moment of betrayal was a waypoint on your path to sovereignty, proof that they take notice when you step into your power. Look back on recent days and notice the subtle shift you may have dismissed. A sudden chill at the threshold of your home, the sensation of fingertips brushing the small of your back when no one stands there, a fleeting image in a reflective surface that vanishes before you can register its shape. Those moments of deja vu weren't glitches in perception, but coded messages woven into the fabric of your daily life. In a dream, you may have seen circles of fire, symbols you couldn't name. Yet upon waking, your heart recognized them. These are the footnotes in awakening text, guiding you to reread your experiences as signs of spiritual surveillance rather than random anomalies. There is a gentle confirmation unfolding within you, as soft as dawn's first light. You begin to trust a tug in your chest when something feels off, the tightening in your throat that warns you of hidden motives, the clarity that surfaces in quiet moments when the world's noise recedes. Your intuition, long dismissed as oversensitivity, now emerges as a refined instrument, a compass forged in the fires of scrutiny. The same spirit that watched you struggles to mask its interest whenever you attune to your inner voice. In this tender realization, you find safety. The truth is not only out there watching, but also nestled in the sanctuary of your own knowing. Beneath the surface of everyday identity lies a deeper self waiting to be remembered, an archetypal essence encoded with resilience and divine purpose. You are not being asked to become someone new, but to reclaim the self they try to keep hidden. Imagine layers of paint flaking from an ancient mural, revealing the original masterpiece beneath. That original you is untouched by approval or scorn, free from the distortions that monitoring spirits impose. As you reconnect with this buried identity, a quiet power rises, anchoring you in a legacy that stretches beyond time. The more you remember, the less the Watchers can define you. Now feel the stirrings of your own uprising. The very sensitivity they sought to exploit becomes your blade of truth. The inner wisdom they tried to distort transforms into a beacon that scans the darkness for lies. You begin to claim the authority you were born with, declaring silence over every rumor they whispered into your thoughts, setting firm boundaries around the sacred space of your mind. This is your first activation, a deliberate step into empowerment, where every breath you take reclaims energy that was once siphoned off. Stand tall in this moment, for you are the force they have both feared and coveted. You did not stumble upon this revelation by chance. Your arrival here confirms what your soul has known for lifetimes. You are being watched because you are awakening. Comment "seen" if this message resonates with the stirrings in your heart, and share a moment when you sense that silent gaze. Up next, we will uncover how these Watchers attach themselves a moment of elevation, revealing the hidden patterns that bind your light, so you can break free and step fully into unshakable freedom. And if you feel called to go even deeper, there's a sacred space reserved for our community, a private room where you receive full prophetic messages daily. Join our private membership through the link in the description and walk this path with us. Why chosen ones attract spiritual monitors? A tremor slid through your spirit the moment you noticed a pattern. Every time you felt your insight deepen or your courage swell, an unseen force seemed to push back. It began as a whispered discomfort, a tightening behind her eyes, as though someone gently but firmly pressed their palm against your temple. That strange heaviness wasn't fatigue, but resistance materializing. Like an unexpected headwind against a runner's stride, it revealed itself in everyday moments. A creative spark snuffed out mid-thought, a word caught in your throat when you tried to speak your truth. In that subtle pause, you sensed a hidden hand at work, testing your resolve before you even realized you were being tested. In the hours that followed, you felt it deep in your bones. The sting of isolation when confidence recoiled to your passion. The weight of misunderstanding when colleagues dismissed your vision. It was a pressure that seeped into your skin, making you question whether you had said too much, felt too deeply, or shone too brightly. Shame rose unbidden, whispering that your gifts were burdens best kept hidden. You caught yourself shrinking in meetings, retracting truths into silence, as though your inner flame were something to be concealed. Every time you allowed that contraction, you saw the price, an ache of regret, the ghost of lost opportunities, the echo of untold potential. Yet the strain was no mere byproduct of social awkwardness or imposter syndrome. It was woven into the very fabric of your journey. Imagine a caravan crossing a vast desert, guided by stars yet beset by sandstorms meant to disorient. In biblical exile, Israel's path through the wilderness was filled with trials designed by unseen forces to refine their identity. Exodus 16. So too were you led into your own wilderness, through draining environments, relationships that stifled you, and systems built to keep you compliant. Each trial was a crucible, melting away the dross so your true metal could emerge. Recognizing this truth shifts the narrative. You are not an accidental victim, but a chosen participant in a sacred refinement. Turning back to the corridors of your memory, you see the same obstacles looping in cycles. The promotion that vanished at the last moment, the collaborator who withdrew just as you needed support, the project that unraveled before your efforts bore fruit. These betrayals felt personal, but now you glimpsed their pattern, a design to measure the depth of your commitment. In one instance, you recall planning a breakthrough presentation only to have the venue canceled hours before, leaving you scrambling. In another, you remember the crushing disappointment when a trusted ally suddenly went silent. These recurring tests were not random cruelties, but challenges erected to show you where your faith and focus would falter. As the fog of denial lifts, you perceive the shape of energetic interference, a haze that clings to your aura and blurs your sense of clarity. In rooms where you once moved with ease, the air now feels thick, like walking through an invisible barrier. Doors that once opened with ease suddenly jam. Conversations you once navigated effortlessly now twist into tension. This distortion is neither moral nor personal. It is a natural recoil of forces threatened by your ascending light. Picture silent watchers circling your progress like vultures awaiting weakness, feeding on every flicker of doubt they can catch. How did you respond when this pressure became unbearable? Perhaps you retreated into safety of routines, repeating familiar patterns that offered small comforts. You might have silenced your voice, choosing polite acquiescence over the jolt of authentic expression. Or you may have rebelled quietly, acquiring new skills, studying esoteric texts by night, and nursing a private fire that burned beneath the surface. Each reaction was a survival strategy, a way to protect your fragile spark until the world grew ready for your blaze. This was never weakness, but the clever instinct of a soul under siege, preserving its essence until revival. Then a shift occurred. The resistance itself morphed into revelation. The same forces that sought to confine you instead illuminated the contours of your destiny. You realized that being a target was confirmation of your rise. The more potent the opposition, the deeper the mark of your calling. In that prophetic moment, you reclaimed your voice, declaring that no external tactic could eclipse your inner conviction. As the prophet Elijah stood against the prophets of Baal, calling fire from heaven, 1 Kings 18, so too did you stand in defiance, summoning the blaze of your spirit to melt the barriers they erected. You were opposed because you are powerful. Every act of sabotage proves the magnitude of your potential. Comment resilient if you recognize the hidden trials that forge your strength. Up next, we will dive into the signs that betray their presence, the fatigue, the synchronicities, the interruptions, and learn how to name them so you can dismantle their hold and step into unshakable sovereignty. And to every soul who supported with a super thanks, thank you. You are keeping this light alive for others who haven't found it yet. If you feel called to help this mission reach more chosen ones, tap the super thanks button below. Your energy supports these messages and helps them travel further. Your voice matters, your belief matters, and your light is felt here. How to know you're being watched. A jolt split your awareness one morning as you reached for your journal and found your pen hovering above blank pages, though you dreamed an entire sermon hours before. In that instant, the everyday world snapped into relief and you saw its edges the first time, a tapestry threaded with hidden watchers. That quiet moment, your breath held in anticipation, marked the first stirrings of true sight. You realized that what you once brushed off as coincidence or fatigue was a signal, an invitation to perceive the currents swirling just beyond your senses. This was not mere happenstance, but the opening chord of revelation that would transform your understanding of every subtle misalignment you'd ever felt. The code beneath your daily life has been speaking to you in whispers, numbers carved into the margins of receipts that repeat in curious sequences, stray fragments of dreams lingering like half-remembered songs, single words echoing through silence long after conversation ends. It is as though reality itself is written in an intricate geometry of meaning, where every pause and pattern carries weight. Imagine a vast scroll unfurling before you, each letter a cipher, each space a breath inviting you to read between the lines. Now, with your vision sharpened, you see that even the hum of fluorescent light or the crooked angle of a falling shadow has been calling your name, guiding you toward hidden truths. Inside you, something has shifted. Your intuition, once a whisper, now roars with clarity. Your boundaries, once porous, now form a protective ring. Your energy, once scattered, now pulses in resonance with sacred currents. You find that crowded rooms drain you, but solitary walks in the forest refill you. That certain voices grate against your soul, while others resonate like an echo of forgotten hymns. These changes aren't figments of an overactive imagination, but confirmations of inner recalibration. Your body is sending you signals. Tingles at the base of the skull, a flutter in the solar plexus, alerting you to the presence of watchers whose every movement ripples through your field. As you step more fully into this awareness, the world around you begins to realign with startling precision. Colleagues who once ignored your ideas now seek your insight. Doors that were stuck tight swing open at your touch. Pathways you had never considered appear as clear avenues before you. Yet alongside these openings, you also feel the pushback, unexpected obstacles, sudden miscommunications, plans unraveling in the face of unseen forces. It is as if reality itself has become a living mirror, reflecting back the newfound light of your awakening. In this dance of alignment and resistance, you glimpse the architecture of the divine unfolding around you. Deep within the corridors of your memory, a sacred spark kindles, a dream from childhood where you stood on a mountaintop, crowned by moonlight, the wind carrying your laughter across the valleys below. Back then, you dismissed it as childish fantasy. Now you recognize it as an echo of ancestral knowing. That image was never an idle fancy, but a deposit of your soul's true blueprint. As you reclaim that forgotten vision, the Watcher's tactics lose their power, for you remember the sovereignty you once held. This activation of sacred memory serves as a lodestar, guiding you through the fog of interference toward the dawn of your purpose. With each revelation, the contours of your destiny sharpen, not as something to be invented, but as a legacy awaiting reclamation. You are no longer seeking permission from the world to step into your calling. You are summoning back every fragmented promise whispered by your heart. In the scroll of your life, the chapters ahead have been written long ago, their pages waiting for the boldness of your ascent. This is your prophecy: to stand unbowed, to speak with unshakable authority, to let your light blaze so brightly that the watchers themselves must shield their eyes. The tide turns now, and you rise, reclaiming the voice they tried to mute. Speak with the fierce softness of one who has endured the silent siege and emerged unbroken. Let your words carve pathways through the veil, for this reclamation is an act of rebellion and revelation. In this moment, you hold the mirror to their gaze, turning their scrutiny into fuel for your ascension. This is no longer about being observed. It is about being fully seen, without apology or restraint. Revelation is merely the threshold. True awakening demands action. Comment, aware, if you feel the pulse of Watchers at the edges of your vision, and share a moment when a cryptic sign shifted your path. In our next section, we will explore the sacred rituals and strategies to seal your atmosphere, transforming surveillance into silence and ensuring that from here on, you move unseen through realms that once held you captive. How to seal your atmosphere. A single breath drawn in the stillness can mark the moment you step into absolute authority. You stand now at the threshold where every footstep matters, feeling the pulse of the earth beneath your soles and the whisper of unseen forces testing your resolve. In this sacred instant, you decide that no presence, no matter how subtle, may cross the boundary of your spirit without your consent. You sense the weight of that decision pressing like a pivot point in time. Before this, you guarded only your thoughts. Now, you claim dominion over the very atmosphere surrounding you. This is the crossing of a threshold, where intention becomes a shield that will protect your emerging power. Recall every ounce of patience and energy you once surrendered to noisy minds and clinging doubts. That season was your crucible, forging the steel of your resolve. Now, as the dawn of your sovereignty breaks, you summon it all home with ritual words. By the power within me, I close every door that will betray my sovereignty. Speak this declaration as a priest consecrating a temple, knowing that each syllable carries the weight of your reclaimed essence. In naming what you call back, you call for the cavalcade of blessings, sealing away the echoes of those who would distort your path, and welcoming only those harmonious vibrations aligned with your mission. Deep within your hands lies a luminous key, a symbol of the gifts you carry: discernment to see through deception, sensitivity to attune to higher frequencies, memory to recall your soul's blueprint, and courage to embrace your full luminous potential. These are not abstract qualities, but sacred tools, keys that unlock the portals of possibility at your feet. Envision these talents as a crystalline code etched into your very cells, glowing with divine light. With each invocation of your power, this code pulses, reinforcing the barrier that separates your true calling from any who would seek to derail your ascent. Step forward now, and feel how the path beneath you unfurls in response to your commitment. The terrain you once trod in uncertainty now reveals milestones etched by your past obedience to rest and reflection. Your next steps emerge not from speculation but from embodied clarity, each movement aligning with the imprinted map written into your spirit. Picture your journey like a river carving its course through stone. The water does not hesitate or stray. It follows contours shaped by forces both seen and unseen. In this same way, your path leads you onward, guided by the living architecture of destiny. Lift your gaze and witness the convergence of kindred lights. Souls awaken across the globe, each bearing sparks from the same eternal flame. You are part of a constellation of awakened ones, bound not by proximity but by purpose. Feel their pulse resonating with yours, strengthening protective field you weave around your spirit. There is no need to dim your brilliance to fit into a fading paradigm. Rather, you stand as a pillar in a rising order, your light reflecting and magnifying the collective radiance. Together, you form a tapestry of luminous intent that no adversarial force can penetrate. Now, take command of your energy as a steward of the sacred flame. With measured devotion, set clear boundaries that honor both your heart's longing and your soul's assignment. Choose the interactions, thoughts, and rituals that uplift your frequency and release the rest. This is no act of pride, but a solemn ceremony of consecration. Each yes to alignment and each no to distraction chisels the contours of your empowered reality. In this careful tending, you demonstrate that your spiritual terrain is a sanctuary entrusted to your care, where only that which is consecrated may enter. Everything you have sensed, endured, and overcome has converged to this pivotal moment. You stand now ready to enact the power that was always yours, to give flesh to the revelation that has ignited your vision. The days of hesitation dissolve as you affirm, I am ready. I am sovereign. I will not relent. Let this declaration resound like a trumpet blast glimpsed on the horizon, heralding your full emergence. In this final breath before action, you embody prophecy, stepping through the portal of your own making into a realm where alignment is your birthright. Revelation without embodiment is a seed left unplanted. Now, anchor this truth in your bones. You are more than a messenger. You are the living testament to the power you proclaim. Comment sealed. If you feel the walls of your spirit pressing back against intrusion, and share a moment when your boundaries transformed your experience. Up next, we will move from sealing your space to sanctifying your daily rituals. Every breath, every choice becoming a prayer in action, ensuring that your sphere remains unshakable as you ascend into the fullness of your divine mission. An echo drifts through your consciousness like a distant bell tolled in another realm, asking, what will you do when the Watchers no longer hold sway? In that reverberation lies the spark of your uprising. No longer does your spirit cower beneath their gaze. Instead, you sense the tremor of envy in their surveillance. Each revelation you claim twists their scrutiny into a testament of your ascendance. You stand now at the altar of your sovereignty, feet planted firmly in the ground they once monitored with covetous eyes. In reclaiming this space, your presence becomes both sanctuary and fortress, impervious to their whispered riddles. A vision unfolds. You, standing in a forest clearing at twilight, light gathering in your palms like embers ready to ignite the night. Those embers are your reclaimed power, each one born from dismantled barriers and vanquished doubts. This glow is a language in itself, speaking to every hidden part of your being that long for freedom. As you breathe into this vision, you realize the Watchers can no longer map your trajectory. Your trajectory maps theirs, revealing their shadows to the cleansing light of your purpose. Beneath that towering oak you once deemed ordinary, you unearth an ancient mosaic carved into its roots, symbols of your lineage, footsteps of those who walked this path before you. This sacred emblem had been hidden in plain sight, overlooked by those who feared the power it promised. Now, as your awareness sharpens, you trace each line with reverence, feeling the pulse of ancestral wisdom coursing through your veins. You recognize that watching spirits tremble before such legacy, they cannot intercept the code written in your blood. In this moment, you reclaim not only your own story, but the collective chorus of those who came before, a symphony the Watchers cannot silence. A sudden breeze carries the scent of distant rain, collapsing the illusion of separation between your inner realm and the world around you. Everywhere you turn, the air vibrates to the hum of your sovereignty. Flowers turning their heads toward you, streams whispering in rhythm with your heartbeat, birds dipping in arcs of recognition overhead. This cosmic choreography is not happenstance, but a ripple effect of your decision to stand unbowed. You move through existence like a tide that reshapes shores. Watchers who sought to pin you down now drip behind, carried by currents you command. You no longer adapt to the world. The world adapts to your presence. In the quiet corner of your mind, an inner voice rises, clearer than before, declaring that every moment of hesitation was a rehearsal for this grand unveiling. You know now that your hunger for stillness, for pause and reflection, was never to escape but to prepare. Like a warrior who sharpens her blade in silence before the dawn of battle, you have honed your edge in solitude. Your readiness is palpable. It resonates in your bones and hums in your blood. This is a turning point where the Watchers shift from observers to messengers, delivering back to you the potency you entrusted to Void for safekeeping. A question surfaces in the lattice of your awareness. Who defines the boundaries of your soul? And you answer with a smile. For no spirit, no ancient system, no hidden tribunal hold authority over the terrain you have consecrated. You have excavated a kingdom beneath the surface of your fears and doubts. And there you now sit as monarch of an empire of light. The Watchers, once perched at your edges, drift away into the margins, unable to breach the palace you have erected within. In this reclaimed realm, you write new laws of engagement. Every thought, every action, every breath aligned with the code of creation itself. Now, feeling the weight of centuries upon your shoulders, you raise your arms and call down a covenant of clarity, a promise that your light will never dim so long as breath fills your lungs. It echoes through the valleys of the spirit world, a proclamation that sets the very winds afloat with your determination. This is no mere mantra, but an ancestral decree, carried on airwaves older than time itself. The Watchers here in retreat, their forms dissolving into the tapestry reality you now weave. You stand triumphant, unwatchable, unbound, initiating a ripple that will awaken other chosen ones to reclaim their unseen crowns. Your final insight settles over you like dawn's first golden rays. Empowerment is not the absence of obstacles, but the mastery of every force arrayed against you. You were summoned here to blaze a path that defies their vision, to become predator of deception and the architect of your destiny. Comment sovereign if you feel this summons resonate in your bones, and share a moment when your own light rendered you unwatchable. Up next, we will weave these revelations into daily rituals, transforming every sunrise, every step, every whispered prayer into an act of cosmic reclamation, ensuring that your kingdom remains forever unassailable. You drift into a cavern carved by ancient storms. The air shimmers with echoes of forgotten oaths from prophets who carved runes in shifting sand. Every pulse in your veins hums with the memory of a prophet exiled to the wilderness, surviving on manna under a copper sky. Exodus 16, verse 4. You feel the weight of his fragile faith, as if it were your own cloak. In the dim glow of phosphorescent crystals, you find an obelisk inscribed with glyphs that recount dreams of future harvests. A solitary stone figure kneels at its base, holding a crystal chalice that seems to draw moonlight from the depths. You pour your longing into that vessel and watch it overflow with pure intention. The chalice shatters and its fragments ascend like birds at dawn. None can claim this vision because it is woven from threads of your own making. With each breath you shape constellations in the dark sky, naming them after trials you have conquered. A phantom storm rattles the chamber walls, and you stand unflinching, its thunder a hymn to your resolve. You trace the outline of a desert rose carved into the column, and recall how blooms can arise from barren stone. A distant drumbeat resonates through your marrow, reminding you of the shepherd who carried his flock through night's fiercest gale, Psalm 23, verse 4. You tilt your head and listen, understanding that even shadows bow to light. Your spirit extends tendrils of light toward the fissures and witnesses them heal, as though the earth itself rejoices. You turn from that cavern, carrying a rock warmed by the light you poured into it. This talisman hums with a promise that no chasm can swallow your radiance. You smile at the thought that darkness serves only to illustrate your glow. You step beyond the cave mouth and leave footprints that persist as glowing embers in the pale sand. And in that silent testament, you recognize the truth. Your soul is a wellspring of renewal. You breathe rhythm into the silent hymn and watch as the cosmic hall resonates with your command. Tables arise all around you, each an invitation to gather kindred spirits from unseen realms. You call them forth with thought, and they appear, drawn by the promise of this feast. Subscribe if you haven't yet, like this video, and comment, "I am chosen," to let this message anchor in your soul. Share it with someone who needs to hear this. Thank you to all supporting members. 4 full prophetic revelations daily. Join the membership via the link in the description. Your spiritual path deserves more than fragments. Step into the full light. And if this message moved you deeply, consider tapping the Super Thanks button to support the mission. Every Super Thanks fuels the light we're spreading together. You are no one's experiment. Stand unshakable, walk unstoppable, and let them know you see every move they make.